If you've just been told you need new glasses, or if you're about to get your first ever pair of glasses, probably the most fundamental decision is what type of glasses to get. And that is dictated by your lenses. So in today's video, I'm going to be covering every type of lens that you can buy in 2025. So hi, I'm Robert, Style and Vision Consultant here at the Spectacle Factory, and it's my job to pair you with your perfect pair of glasses. And most people assume that the prescription is everything when it comes to that, but that is not true. You can interpret the prescription in many different ways and turn it into many different types of glasses. So without further ado, let's cover single vision lenses. The most simple type of lens, but that doesn't mean that you should take that decision lightly, because there are actually many different types of single vision lenses. But fundamentally, all single vision lenses work on the same principle. They have one prescription set for one distance. For most people who are below the age of, let's say 35, 40, single vision lenses are probably the best choice for you. But even above that age, they might still be the right decision to make. Single vision lenses are simple. No matter where you look through the lens, you're looking through the same prescription. Now that actually leads us into an important topic, which is that actually you don't want to be looking through the same prescription in all directions. When our eyes turn and look at oblique angles, the focus of our eyes actually changes. So the world's best single vision lenses are actually optimized to compensate for that effect. Not only that, but some single vision lenses compensate for other types of distortion too. For example, spherical distortion, where your glasses make things bigger or smaller, including your eyes. And on top of that, you have technologies like Smart Life, which will optimize the vision for near focusing as well as far focusing for people who don't have an add on the prescription, and we're going to get onto that. Or drive safe lenses, for example, which improve your night vision. There are even sports single vision lenses designed for wraparound frames. So the category of single vision lenses is huge, but fundamentally they correct one type of prescription. So if you see your prescription and you don't have an add value, single vision lenses are probably the best choice for you. That being said, if you do have that add on your prescription, what that means is you need different glasses for different distances. And you can still choose single vision lenses that correct one of those distances at a time. So for example, if you spend a lot of time on the computer, you can have lenses optimized for that distance. Or if you spend a lot of time reading, you can have reading glasses made as a single vision lens. Or you can have glasses for distance. I would argue that in most of those cases, single vision lenses are probably not the best choice, but they are the simplest and usually the most cost effective. So hence single vision lenses, especially stock single vision lenses, which are mass produced, remain very popular in 2025. Now, we've all heard of Benjamin Franklin, and did you know that one of the inventions of Benjamin Franklin was the bifocal? These are those glasses where you see there's a physical, visible line on the glasses themselves. That is quite an old technology, but it still exists in 2025 for a good reason. If you want glasses for far vision and close, or maybe far vision and intermediate, or maybe intermediate and close, basically any two prescriptions in one lens, a bifocal achieves that, and it's cost effective and distortion free for the most part compared against progressive lenses, which we're going to get to. Bifocals are really simple. It's just one lens glued on top of another. That means that you don't introduce any optical effects like certain other lenses do. The downside, of course, is obvious. You have a physical line which not only looks kind of ugly, but can be a bit distracting as well. When you're looking at things and the image jumps from one spot to another, it can be a little bit jarring, as opposed to other types of multifocal lenses which are more smooth and natural. Bifocal lenses work well, and I think they are kind of underutilized in 2025 because for some people with some applications, they are still the best choice. Now, bifocals actually come in multiple sizes, so that segment on the lens can be lots of different widths, even all the way across in what's known as an executive bifocal. You can even have something called a Franklin split, which is where you literally take two lenses, chop each one in half, and install them to the frame. And there are reasons why you might need to do that sometimes, but it gets quite technical and quite specialized. It's very unlikely that you'll need that. If you want to take it a step further, you could even go for trifocals, probably the most rare type of lens, but in 2025 you can still get them. A trifocal is literally three focuses built into one lens, but with two lines. These are the rarest type of lens for a reason, because no one really wants any lines on the glasses, let alone two. And if you wear trifocals, you're gonna look kind of weird. Some people love them. And if you get used to a trifocal lens, you probably won't want any other type of lens because nothing else delivers the optics of a trifocal lens like a trifocal. Now, one of, in my opinion, the most underutilized lens types is a digital lens, although that is a Zeiss brand name. So there are other names for this technology. You have the Sync lenses from Hoya, you have Eisen lenses from Essilor, and basically these are lenses which are almost like single vision but have a boost zone towards the bottom of the lens. This is what I actually personally choose for my own glasses, and I love this technology. So when you're looking around normally, you get a distortion-free, very wide field of view, which basically just feels like a single vision lens. But when you come to check your smartphone, hence the name digital, there's a boost zone here which just makes this more comfortable. Now, that is not always designed to actually make things clearer. Like, I can see this equally whether I look through the top or the bottom of my lenses. But by looking through that boost zone, I'm reducing strain on my eyes. And given how much we all use digital devices nowadays, having a digital boost lens like this, for me, is a game changer. It makes my eyes much more refreshed and relaxed by the end of the day than they are when I don't wear my digital lenses. Technically, they go from a 0.5 ad all the way up to a 1.25 ad. If you have an ad on your prescription that's, let's say, 0.5 or 1, you can choose digital lenses, and they might be a better option for you than full-on progressive lenses, which we're going to get to, don't worry. Digital lenses are easier to adjust to than progressives. They have less distortion than progressives, but the trade-off is that they don't give you as much reading vision as a progressive lens does. So the question to ask yourself is, am I at the point where I feel like I really need reading glasses? In which case, probably choose bifocals or progressives. But if you're not feeling like that and you have an ad on your prescription, or if you just want to give your eyes the most support throughout the day, definitely consider a digital lens. Kind of similar to that are something called office lenses. Now, office lenses come into play when you definitely have an ad on your prescription and you're spending a lot of time either in an indoor environment in general or particularly on computer screens. Office lenses are much better than any other type of multifocal lens for a screen because they place your intermediate vision right in front of your eyes. The advantage of that is you don't have to move your head at all when looking at the screen, as opposed to all other multifocal lenses which do require you to do that. Given the amount of time that we all spend with screens nowadays, office lenses are a really important tool to have in your arsenal. And for a lot of people who only require reading glasses, office lenses might be the only lens that you need. But if you are someone who needs different glasses for far and close, consider having office lenses within your eyewear wardrobe because they can't quite cover everything. They don't give you full distance vision, so you can't use them for things like driving. You can't really walk around outdoors in them because they limit how far you can see. But within an indoor space, and particularly if you're sat at a desk working at a computer, they are the best lenses that you can get, and they'll probably change your life. Now we move on to the dreaded progressive lenses or varifocals. These are the ones that carry the most fear when you're told that you need them. And I think that's more of a historical thing because number one, a lot of people think I'm going to have a line on my glasses. Progressive lenses or varifocals do not have a line. That's bifocals. But number two, I think a lot of people have heard horror stories from friends, from relatives, or maybe they've even had a bad experience in the past with progressive lenses. It's important to know that there are many, many different types of progressives. In fact, there are more types of progressive lens than every other type of lens put together. And that's because progressive lenses are both very popular and very complex. It's within the progressive lens space that you actually see the most variation. So the biggest difference from the low end to the high end. It's almost like night and day going from a low cost, old-fashioned, progressive or varifocal lens to a modern, state-of-the-art and probably quite expensive progressive lens. And that's because progressive lenses have the miracle of giving you vision at all distances without a line and without an image jump. So there's a gradual progression as you look far away up to close. So technically they have literally every prescription. There's a slightly different focus for here to here to here and all the way to infinity. That's the amazing thing about progressive lenses, and no other lens in the world delivers that. But they also come with their drawbacks. You generally get a restricted field of view with progressive lenses, and also they can cause a slightly dizzy or uneasy feeling, especially when you first get them. Now for most people those symptoms fade away, and for most people they actually adapt to moving the head a little bit more so that they're not aware of these peripheral zones. But that's where investing in good lenses really comes in, especially with progressive lenses. Now, I would always say the lenses are the most important part of your glasses, and no matter whether you're getting single vision, bifocal, office lenses, progressive, you should always invest in your lenses and research which ones are the best for you. But with progressive lenses, it is really life-changing. It will affect your day-to-day life in quite a significant way. Now, that is not to say that people can't use the most basic progressive lenses. Millions of people do. But in all wearer trials, they've shown that people prefer the more advanced progressive lenses. At least the majority of people do. That's literally why they're able to claim that they are better, because of these wearer trials and patient data, patient feedback. The SmartLife Individual 3 Pro is probably the best progressive lens that money can buy. That will give you the most natural sensation and the clearest vision when looking through your progressive lenses. In other words, you're not aware of this distortion at the side because it's so minimized and it's pushed into a position where you can't really see it. And also the graduation from far to close is incredibly smooth. As an example, Zeiss performed a lot of research into modern day visual behavior when they developed SmartView technology. They researched how people use their eyes and their head in the modern world, particularly with the advent of smartphones. And these lenses are optimized so that when you're looking through those zones that people tend to look through, you get the focus that you want without having to move your head, without having to move your eyes. That's just one example of a progressive lens technology that is making lives easier. And that's why even if you've heard bad stories, even if you've had a bad experience in the past, chances are you can get on with them if you choose the right lens. So that's it. That's every type of lens you can choose for your glasses. And I hope you found it helpful. If you did, make sure to give us a like and subscribe for more of the best eyewear content on the internet. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks guys, bye-bye.